initiative.
Sacrifice material in order to gain initiative. So that's
sacrifice material to have a lead in development.
lead and development, yes. So lead and development or initiative, and that's the concept of playing a gambit, right? And also maybe kind of surprise your opponent too, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you might have the more solid system, okay, that you play, but then you play a gambit, all of a sudden.
They burn up their clock to the point where they're getting into time trouble.
Yeah, put pressure on them time-wise. Okay, if they don't expect it, they don't expect that line, all of a sudden you're playing the moves quick, and they're surprising. Okay, even though objectively maybe your opponent can get out of trouble and be ahead, it's not always the case. Not always easy.
I like Gambit because I tuck a pawn and we go, wait a minute, I'm a pawn up and they think we're going to win. And then they realize, they look later and say, hey, wait a minute, now I'm a piece down.
That's what happens, yeah. Alright, so this just to play through this gambit real quick here. D4, knight of 6, C4, and E5. Okay, so here white certainly needs to take that pawn, right?
Yep.
Gotta
C5.
gotta take that pawn, so you get an extra pawn, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's obvious. Now there's a couple ways that black can respond. Yes. There's knight going to E4.
G4.
Okay, and then there's knight going to G4. So knight G4 is the main line.
Yep.
The idea of knight E4, you can. What's the next big threat for black? Or the next big active idea here that
You're
black
going
can
to
implement?
castle. Idea maybe he's going to play a bishop out. Maybe castle.
Yeah, bishop comes out to B4. Okay, with a check.
Jack.
There may be other possibilities. Maybe some kind of queen H4. Maybe trying to
Too early.
maybe challenge this pawn.
Yep.
Maybe knight C6, attack him, get more pieces in the game.
Yeah.
So knight to G4. The idea would be to obviously recapture that pawn on E5, attack him, plus put all pressure here on F2. So white goes ahead and defends the pawn on E5.
By playing knight F3.
Knight F3, for example, right? Another move, bishop F4.
I don't like bishop F4.
That's the main line, though.
Yeah, I know. I don't like
So knight comes out to C6.
Yeah.
White can still play bishop to F4.
Yep, now you play bishop F4.
And what can black do here?
Play pawn to D6.
Pawn to D6. Well, look, that's not gonna.
What can white do?
That's not gonna necessarily get the pawn back. I like D6 actually. I mean, let's see, D6. Because if he takes D,
The bishop takes back. Bishop takes back.
so yeah, bishop is on F4, Charlie. Got it? Yeah, bishop on F4, knight on F3. So you just missing the knight on F3.
Oh, yeah, I just said
Knight F3.
Now if D6, he takes D. What's the resource black got here?
Bishop takes D6.
Well, look, that's we're gonna trade the bishops. Knight comes out to C3. You're gonna have weak pawn on D6, and you're down the pawn.
yeah.
That's not a big accomplishment. But here's an interesting subtle detail here.
What if you treated it like the Danish and just let it go?
But the idea of D6 here, you see it, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, queen to F6, right?
Queen F3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's the kind of like the dynamic that you want to develop with the gambit, is that you're constantly creating some kind of threat, some kind of opportunities. So here, what can white do? You guys see the idea here? So what are the pieces under attack?
The bishop on F4.
The bishop on F4, the pawn on D6, pawn on B2, right? So but white can certainly defend. How does white defend?
Bishop C1.
Bishop C1, but that's too passive, right? Then black certainly has the.
Bishop
If you give up some stuff, what do you have for it?
Bishop G5.
What do you guys have? Yeah, I got one question. Question, Paul. The question is, if you give up some stuff, right? You're hoping to get compensation in the form of initiative, attack, whatnot. Some to get for it, right? So certainly, if queen C1, for example, bishop D6, certainly looks like black got the compensation.
That's not what works. I think that pawn takes on c7.
Pawn takes on c7, but then your bishop on f4.
That's fine because next move is checkmate with queen down to d8.
Knight on c6.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we're not on C6. Okay.
Look, what's another active move? A little brainstorming session. You guys can just shout it out. What's another active?
Bishop to B4.
Bishop b4 certainly is.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys, thank you for your contribution. That was a lot of suggestions you guys made. Yeah. So bishop b4 check.
Wait, so what was played after the queen came to f6?
You guys know brainstorm?
He played the queen back to the original.
You guys
He
had a
played
little-
queen back to D8.
You guys had a little brain drizzle.
Charles. And he played bishop, and then the move is bishop. They're looking at the move bishop to B5. I'm sorry, bishop B4 check.
Okay, so white can defend in two ways against the check. What are those?
Knight C3 or knight to D2.
Okay. Bishop to d2, but then the bishop is already
No,
developed,
we
right?
don't want to move a
They
bishop
say-
out. You don't retreat.
They say what? Don't move.
A
They say
piece twice.
It's in the
why?
back.
In the
It's in the
opening.
closet
In the open.
behind Mark.
You guys.
to the left.
These guys are good, right?
The correct move, I think, the correct move here is knight to B, knight B to D2.
You guys heard this before? Don't move the same piece twice in the open.
Knight B to
We should
D2.
change. We probably should change the brand of cereal on them.
Yeah.
For a little bit more raisin.
Knight B to D2.
Knight BD2. Okay, if knight goes to C3, what's the problem with that? Yeah, at some point, right?
Yep.
It's gonna have.
But the problem is the knight is pinned. If you go to C3, the knight is pinned. The bishop.
How do we get this pawn back? F6 is interesting, right? With a similar kind of vibe that we had before. F6, pawn takes. I actually like this this idea. I think I've never seen this before. Like F6, now all of a sudden B2 is hanging. How does what white manage this, right?
You gotta play rook to B1.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but the bishop on f4 is hanging, right? If you attack the queen with bishop g5, well, that's only welcome. The queen to go grab that pawn on b2, right?
So
but you
knight
can't grab
to-
the pawn.
So the bishop
Wait.
out to b4 is the main line, right?
Bishop out to b4 is the main line, yeah.
And so then
Bishop
you
to
block.
G5, queen takes, and then you play rook takes. Rook to B1. Now the queen gotta go through and move
Queen's
your-
got quite a few opportunities.
Yeah, but you're gonna lose your bishop on B4.
So just to respond to Charlie there, so yeah, the bishop f4 is the main line, then we get to a position with bishop b4 check, knight to d2. I suggested this f6, I think that's kind of interesting. Still, you can play that same idea of d6, right? If the pawn takes, what can you do?
Queen F6.
Queen to f6, right? This kind of stuff. I don't know. I'd love to investigate this and find out exactly what this evaluation here. But it looks like black is not doing all too bad. There's a simpler way for black to continue. Okay, that's why. Yeah, go ahead. 27. Yeah. Then what's the motivation behind that?
Hey, winning the pawn back.
Win the pawn back, right? So queen goes to e7. Okay, and now white has no way to really defend that pawn on e5, right? So what would be the next good thing to try to do? What are the better pieces, knights or bishops? Bishop depends, right? But if this, like, let's say, call it like this knight that was here over on d5, that would certainly be a powerful piece, especially if it's already making threats, right? Right here, kind of an outpost situation for the knight, right? But overall, bishops are a little bit stronger than knights because as the position opens up, bishops become very
I
strong.
don't like it. I don't like it for white now because he only got one move, and that's bishop to G6.
G5, right? So
G5 doesn't work. I play F6.
E6, pushing the pawn, open up the bishop, right? You put this pawn on C7, but then black can recapture here
Yep.
and then defend that pawn on C7,
I don't
right?
like that.
So
I would just play to develop the light square bishop.
exactly,
This
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Play E3, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, play the move e3. Yes, and black gets to recapture the pawn on e5, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, white does have an idea of keeping this bishop out on b4.
Yep.
And
A3.
yeah. Okay, so first we play e3, Charlie.
Oh, okay. So you didn't play e3?
No,
No, play the a3.
A3 attacking the bishop.
Right. And then